Harrison, we made it. Oh my God. Let's pretend the previous hour did not happen.
Sure.
She has some opinions.
Just a few.
But I always like to start in the beginning, which is you do acting. Mm-hmm. You are the founder of Chaos Collective.
Yeah.
And Break a Leg Academy.
Yeah.
And
stuff.
Is there anything else you want to admit to?
Mate, so I did voiceover. Voiceover was how I got back into this.
Mm-hmm.
I initially trained as a theatre director,
mm-hmm.
and then graduated and was absolutely petrified. So I ended up doing a community drama instead, where I thought it would be safer. But children and young people are brutally honest, and actually that was a really great training ground for writing and directing. Mm-hmm. So I did that for about 10 years. 5 of those years I ran the community theatre department at Cumbernauld Theatre. I'm not sure if you knew that.
What's it called?
Well, it took a whole 5 minutes before you were cheeky.
On camera.
Yeah, that's true. It was a lot faster in person. But no, so I loved it and I did all that. But then I met my ex-husband, had 2 babies, fell out of the industry completely for a while. And then I discovered hitrecord.org.
Oh yeah, I know about this.
Yeah, I love this as a story because I was depressed. Like, I got hit by a taxi, of all things. I was coming out of Buchanan bus station and I was crossing over to John Lewis, and I did check both ways, but what I failed to notice was the taxi was doing a U-turn. So it hit me and I went flying, and I had a bruise like from my armpit to my knee.
Oh, it's not a metaphorical thing. You actually
actually got hit by a taxi. It was ridiculously funny. You couldn't write this. I flew in the air, landed. It was like January, so there was like slushy puddles, and I landed in this puddle. And this old lady was at the bus stop. She kind of waddled over to me and she went, "Where did you come from? You were like an angel from heaven." And I was just like lying there in this puddle, like slowly. It was jeans, so they were like slowly becoming soaked. And I was like, what is my life? Do you know what I mean? And it was like a major existential shake of what are you doing with your life?
Well, sometimes the universe sends you a taxi.
Do you know what I mean? That was it. It was taxi for Harrison. Here we go. And I definitely took that up. So it was great.
The reason, there's many reasons I wanted to chat to you because you're fucking hilarious and glorious. But then one of my favorite memories is like, so it's like the first week of ACS, right?
Oh no, we're going there.
Yeah, hang on. It's the first week of ACS and we're all like, it's going to be tough. This is an intensive 1-year course. Everyone's getting ready. I got my weekend job. I'm doing this. And there's someone in the corner, like a mad witch, with a fucking spreadsheet of babysitters going, right, so who's getting this one? Who's getting that one? Da, 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 da. I'm doing the course this, da, da, da. And I just remember going, God damn.
Yeah.
That's what it takes to be in this business.
Yeah, there was a literal spreadsheet because
I remember.
My youngest he was about 3 years old when I did that course.
Oh my God.
Yeah, he was still in nursery.
6 years ago.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, spoilers.
Spoilers. But yeah, a literal spreadsheet to go and do it. And again, I think that's from my experience at uni. Like, I just knew it was going to take grit. And I think because I had such a negative experience there, I was 33 when I retrained at ACS. I knew exactly what I wanted out of that course. I knew it was a new course. It was like the second year it had ran. Their showcase was in December. They're a new course that nobody knows, and their showcase is during panel season. I did not take that course thinking I'm going to get an agent out of this. I took that course because it did all the mindset stuff, like where Mr. Westbrook had taken all of the sports psychology stuff and turned it into performance psychology, and I was like, this is up my alley, especially because I'd graduated previously with a lack of confidence. I was building those skills.
Yeah, there was that. So
that was the key element for me. And the way that they pitched practical aesthetics, it was the absolute antithesis to everything I'd done as a director. And my big gripe when I graduated was that directors and actors were being trained in the same building, but we had like no language for communication. It felt like we were being trained in different universes. It's a bizarre phenomenon, and it's only now looking back that I can say they auditioned for the directors. You had to audition to get a spot on that course. And I now realise that the people who got on already had innately the communication skills needed to work with actors.
Yeah,
because that's not actually the job of a director, and this has really blown my mind lately. We, especially because you're kind of trained actors through a theatre regime. A lot of places say they teach acting for camera, but they maybe do a week or two. It's all still pitched towards theatre. And so actors relate to directors as in, you're going to tell me how to do this. You're going to shape this performance. I can do anything, just tell me what to do. But actually, especially for camera, the director's job is not to get the performance out. That's what the audition's for. They go, oh, they can do the job, great. They want you to come and do the job. Their job is so much bigger. The director's job doing everything else. And that's the course covers all of that, but it doesn't cover how you communicate with actors. So it's a kind of valid frustration, but at the same time, it's like, surely there's a way of teaching this. Surely, I know, I'm plotting.
Sure, has someone
There's
thought of a way?
Not yet, one day.
Kat Harrison, the founder of Break a Leg Acting Academy. Has anyone thought?
I know, I'll talk safely about my past, because these are my new babies.
Alright.
My new babies.
But yeah, I wanted to say like that.
Yeah.
You are and were an inspiration, so.
Oh.
Like
because of my spreadsheet for my babies?
Yeah, I was like, bruh, if there's people in this doing it, like, you know, the arts always get a flack of like, from everywhere.
Yeah.
But like from the government,
Get a real job.
Yeah, and I was just like looking at you, just making it all work, and I'm like,
yeah. Genuinely though, and that's purely because of that taxi that hit me. Like, Jack was only about maybe 2 or 3 when that happened, and I remember we had to like sit him down and be like, you can't jump on mummy right now, and this is why, and I had to show him the bruise, and I remember the terror in his wee face. He just looked so scared for me, and I'm like, I'm okay and everything's fine, but I mean, this was a bruise, you know. He knew how much his wee bruises on his knee hurt, and he's looking at this, and you could just see how scared he was, and it was the biggest wake-up call. And I was like, my life is no longer just about me. I've got someone else here who's, I'm his world. And so I started to get really serious about, well, what does that mean? And my parents went down the route of that meant have a job, bring in money, and they were miserable. Like, they did jobs that, you know, paid various, my mum did factory jobs that was kind of okay, and my dad was a labourer, so he was on good money. But like, they were miserable. They lived for the weekend. It was not like a happy childhood. They did their best, but it wasn't fun, and it was because they were doing what society tells them they should do for raising a family. And I kind of decided, no, the most important thing is that mum is happy, you know, because I was a single mum by the time I met you. Yeah,
I mean, I didn't even mention that, but like layers upon layers.
Yeah, this is why there was a spreadsheet. There was no supportive partner at home, do you know what I mean? But yeah, I was just like, mum has to be happy. And so I knew from having that time away after leaving Cumbernauld Theatre that if I am not working in the creative industries, I'm not feeding my soul. And when I feed my soul, everything's great. And it's honestly like, I'm a big advocate for being selfish.
Yeah, I agree.
If you're not being selfish, you cannot be of service to anyone else.
Yeah, you can do it, but only for so long.
Do you know what I mean? Like, yeah, you burn out. You got to take care of you. So that's what I did, and I made a spreadsheet, and the spreadsheet worked great. But there came a point halfway through that year when I remember dropping Aidan off at nursery, and his key worker saying, "Who's collecting Aidan today?" And I went, "I know it." Oh. And she went, "It's okay, hen, on you go." And I was like, "Thanks." Like, just midway through the year, I was like, I don't know anymore.
That was the French one as well. It was like,
do you know what I mean? I was like, I'm just done. I don't know.
And you were quite unique because at the Fringe you took on the director role as well a bit.
So that was an interesting one. Mary Davidson. Am I forgetting her last name?
I believe it is Davidson.
Oh my god, that's so bad. That's how long Mary, find me. But yeah, basically me and Mary took on director roles, and that she did way more of the work than me, because there came a point where I stood back and I was like, I'm just going to let this run its course. So she pretty much took the lead director wise, but she was never credited as the director, which was really unfair because she worked her backside off pulling that piece together. Nick had a lot of health issues at the time, and of course that would have been the point where both Mark and Nick's wives fell pregnant. So because we didn't find out till the end of the year, so there was obviously a lot going on, and we had to kind of take on the reins a wee bit. But it was the stage management role that you're thinking of.
Yes, yeah.
They pulled us in and they were like, "How much do you want paid?" And I was like, "I want a new laptop."
Oh.
And I remember Mark looking at Nick and going, "Make it happen." Just with like resignation, just give her a laptop, give her whatever she wants. And that laptop has survived until about a month ago when it finally gave up the ghost. So, go us.
And it was quite interesting because you were a very different person as a stage manager than you were...
What, are you calling me Mini Hitler?
No, I did not say those words. Those words did not leave my mouth.
That's alright, I know who I am.
But it's very interesting to see...
Stage management, Kat doesn't mess around. Like, one, it was about building the reputation, because like I said, I didn't do this course thinking, oh, I'm going to get an agent out of it. I knew nobody knew who ACS really was at that point in the industry. So for me it was about, then we better make sure that the name we put out there is solid and professional. Like, I was like, there's no way we're showing up at the Fringe for 3 months at this venue and having any of these people. 3 months, did I say? That's the trauma.
Imagine 3 months.
It's
oh my
3
god!
weeks that feels like 3 months.
I couldn't have that. I was struggling with the 3 weeks. I was going through shit, but I don't know. 3 months would have killed me.
Yeah, that was a rough time.
It would have killed me.
You made it.
Yeah, I'm still standing. They're crying in the fucking sides and they go like, hello!
No, but like, that's the
Good
beauty of
times.
it. You did it. Dr. Theatre got you through.
Yeah.
No, you nailed it. It was great. But yeah, that's why I was so vicious, because it's about safety, precision, professionalism.
Right. I'm not about to be gossipy, but there was someone who was like, I'm not feeling too good today, I can't do the show today.
There was someone.
Yeah, that's all I'm going to say.
And that was very frustrating. That someone, I remember one day that someone did not bring their prop. We had personal props that we were all responsible for, and they did not bring their prop. And I remember Mark Westbrook opening the door to the storage unit where all the shows had all of their props, and I'm like facilitating moving stuff, and he opened the door and he went, "You are responsible for this person." And I was like, wow. Okay. So I had to go and be mini Hitler to that person for the entire day. Good times.
Yeah,
good
I mean,
times.
see, I don't want to make it a gossip fest, but see, you wouldn't realise there's a lot of drama in the drama department.
Oh, yeah, of course.
But, you know, that's not what this is about. You know, I try to keep my nose out of that kind of stuff. It is entertaining sometimes.
It's entertaining, and listen, if you can't laugh about it, well, what's the point, you know? Aye.
But in that, we should probably talk about your babies.
My babies?
Your present babies. Your Break a Leg Academy, because you've had a number of babies.
Yeah, real babies, mythological babies.
Metaphorical babies. Yeah. But no, I think something really cool that you've done is that you've tried different methods.
Yeah.
And we all tried them, but you've like actively taught different methods, and you've...
Yeah. It's the Bruce Lee thing, right? Try everything, take what works and bin the rest. Yeah. But before you bin it, you have to fully adopt it. This is the thing. I meet a lot of people,
you have to give it a proper shot,
who kind of like dip their toe in and go, that's not for me. And I'm like, how do you know? You've not actually given it a chance. Yeah. One of the actresses I work with, she's amazing. Honestly, watch this space. She's gonna blow up. Hannah Greer.
Oh yeah.
You heard it here first, people. I'll be sitting like that. I know her. I knew her. She's bloody brilliant. But she did a course recently, and she's gotten so deep into she's written a Bible for acting. She's so into the mechanics of it, and so she did a course recently, and she did like 1 or 2 days, and she's messaging me going, "This is pish. Not into this. Da 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 da." But even though that was how she was initially reacting to it, she still sticks with it because she's got that curiosity. And by day 5, day 6, she was like, "Oh, this worked, and I'm really annoyed that it worked." And I'm like, everything has value if you give it long enough and actually apply it. So it's about kind of doing a mishmash. Like when I trained as a director, I was really into Grotowski and Eastern European ways of working. playing. It's why we bonded. Actually,
The trauma.
It was your bad vegetarian vampire joke that nobody got for 3 months.
Oh god, yeah, I remember that.
That's why we bonded.
I introduced myself like, hi, my name is Silas. I come from Transylvania. I'm a vegetarian vampire.
And nobody caught the vampire part, and for about 3 months everybody thought you were a vegetarian.
Meanwhile, I'm eating fucking sausage rolls.
No, he's a vegetarian vampire. It was a joke, and everybody was like, "What?" Like, nobody listens. I was frustrated for you that day.
No, thank you.
All those days.
That was a great joke we're talking about. It was a fantastic joke.
I know. It was beautiful. It was better than the babies in a bin.
Do I have a babies in the bin?
You told me a joke. Literally, it was the first 5 minutes of meeting you. We were all in the room.
What's worse than one?
You.
Oh
Kiara,
god, yeah, I remember that. That's not my
and you were
joke.
doing like the introduction thing, and I think you were just really nervous, and you were like, "Oh, I know, I'll crack a joke to ease attention." And you obviously did not realise that I was a single mother with 2 babies, and the first joke you told me was about dead babies in a bin.
yeah. No, that wasn't my joke. I don't know where I heard it from. I remember the joke of like, what's worse than...
Yeah, no, like I've heard variations of it. It was like, it's one of these standard jokes. It does.
I mean, I have on occasion made jokes that in hindsight I was like, well, you should have read the room a bit more.
No, it was brilliant. It was what endeared me to you, because I was like, that's wildly inappropriate. Who is this guy? It was good.
Yeah, I had to learn that because I would know in a professional setting of like, you let the other person make the risky joke and then you add to it. You know.
Yes, and.
Yes, and exactly. And but that was an eye opener for me coming into like the arts world. I was like, no, not everyone's on board with all your bullshit side.
Not everyone.
Not everyone.
Some people react quite violently, but that's on them.
Who reacted violently? What did I miss?
No, I don't know.
I mean, I know.
I think it might be the same person we were talking about.
I mean,
earlier.
some people get triggered, but
yeah, same person.
Yeah. Now, so I had to learn.
Talking in code.
No, I had to learn that sometimes some jokes I just giggle to myself, and then you don't have to explain. But you don't need to know.
We're a sensitive nation now.
Yeah, you have feelings now, which is interesting.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I don't want to go into that right now, but I've been fascinated how the West has gotten so used to like exporting their culture, and now they're trying to export their guilt, and that's been kind of fun.
Mate, that's a minefield. We need more than however long this is.
Yeah, no, but like
someone
who comes from Eastern
more
Europe,
educated than me.
Of course, I agree. And me, not you. But I agree. Yes, you don't know a lot. Not my.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
No, like but no, it was just like it is a feeling of like coming from outside of the West of like, figure out your shit, guys.
Yeah.
Why is it my problem?
Yeah. No, I feel like the West, whatever that is supposed to be, really requires therapy.
The
like
West,
an en masse therapy session.
like better help, just maybe talk to someone. The West, like have a word.
Get them to a space, where we can all admit what we did. Do you know what I mean? Just release the objects in museums that aren't ours. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just start there, and it's okay. People make mistakes.
It happens,
Just own it. It's the denial that's the issue.
There was no.
You can't fix it if we're in denial.
Yeah. Anyway, where were we? We're talking.
Baby.
Yes, your baby. Yes,
My
so
baby.
Breakaway Acting Academy.
Yeah, so when I kind of fell back into acting, obviously I trained with you at Acting Coach Scotland.
Yeah.
Fell in love with their mindset stuff and their practical aesthetics, and ended up coaching there for a while. Loved that. And then I was directed to Michael Keogh's Inspire Actor Studio.
Yeah.
And he works with a technique called intention, which is incredible. It's one of the best ways I have found for helping an actor connect emotionally and truthfully under imaginary circumstances as quickly as possible without having to spend hours analysing a text and It's a really quick, effective way of getting them in. So highly recommend anybody who's interested to go find Michael Keogh and do that. I'll promote everybody else's business rather than my own.
Yeah, that's okay.
That's what we do.
Shout out to Patrick Tucker.
I know.
I mean, I loved it, but
Patrick Tucker was amazing. I wanted that man to adopt me.
Yeah, he was adorable, but I was very much like there was stuff I agree with, stuff I didn't agree with, and
Of course.
and he was very adamant about his way.
Well, this is the thing. Actually, funny you say this, right? Because this is the thing that's different about Bala. Because a lot of the coaches I've worked with are very militant in their approach.
And they say everything else is shit.
This is the way. This is what's right. And a lot of them market their stuff by talking about how crap everything else is. What we're doing at Bala, like
The number one acting
do you know what I
studio
mean? We're
in
the thing,
Scotland.
we do this, and I'm like, are you though? Like, they are. Like,
I mean, the RCS
this
is
the
still
thing,
there,
there's
guys.
loads of benefits to be had from it, and I highly recommend to anybody who's wanting to do acting to go and do all of these courses. Like, go meet these people and learn from them. You will get something. But what we do at Break a Leg, especially with our labs, which is currently the main thing that's running, it's for a kind of, we say it's for professional actors, that's how it started, but we've got people of all experience levels in here. And it's literally just a space to come and stay and practice. So we've got a session on every single week. You can do like an individual drop-in for 35 quid. Everybody gets one free taster if you want to come and see what it's about. And then if you want to stay on and do more, then you can do like block bookings of 4 sessions or more for £25 a session then. And we do it in such a way that it's flexible. So you pick what dates you want to come, and then you get up to 3 reschedules, and then you lose your session. Because at the end of the day, the industry we're in needs to be flexible. And if you are losing your money paying for classes that you then can't do because you book a job, you shouldn't be punished for booking the job.
Yeah, that's
my whole
fair.
principle.
Yeah. I agree with that.
So that's how it kind of works. But the space is just, I'm really, really proud of the community we've built in Glasgow.
Yeah, no, you.
Because they're so supportive of each other. And it's like they're all making work and stuff now, and I'm just like, go my babies fly.
That's what it's all
But
about.
yeah, no, I love the bones of them. They're really, really good people. But yeah, Break a Leg Academy. So we're hoping we've done like voiceover stuff, because obviously that's my baby as well. That's how I got back into performance. And then we've done, what else have we done through Bala so far? The labs. Voice. Oh, we're looking at devising.
All right, okay.
That's coming soon. So we're going to have a module. It's going to be with Emma Findlay. She trained the year before us at ACS.
Yeah.
So we are going to co-host a devising module. It will be 10 weeks long, and it will culminate in 3 performances, 2 evening, 1 matinee, of whatever it is that they create in the 10 weeks. Depending on the numbers we get, it'll either be 1 show or 2 shows. But the whole premise behind that is, a lot of actors will train in theatre, but they might not get any devising experience, and your first time devising is horrifying. Like, it's a really scary process.
Yeah, I remember. I mean, technically our shows were sort of devised.
Yeah, yours were kind of written. You got a script.
Yeah, that's fair. We did get a script, but we still kind of contributed. Like, it was.
Yeah.
I remember Mark came in and was like, okay, this is the theme. This is how we're gonna make it work. So we all had input for different characters. He wrote the thing, but he got ideas from all of us.
Yeah. Well, we didn't have a writer with our devising team. But no, it was literally just, it can be just really scary, I think, because it's about trust, and it's that thing of juggling, being precious about your ideas, and knowing that whatever you offer, you have to be prepared to let it evolve or die.
Yeah, no,
And it's really tricky to manage, but it can be a really valuable process, and it's one of the fastest and easiest ways of making your own work, because I'm a major advocate of don't wait, create.
100%.
You know what I mean? If you want to get anywhere in this business, just make the work that you are genuinely passionate about. Keep making stuff that you love, and eventually people who love it will gravitate towards it, and if it goes anywhere, great, and if it doesn't, at least you've got a body of work you're really proud of at the end.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, exactly.
So we're wanting to kind of help empower as many. One of the things as well is working class, or anybody that faces financial barriers. It sickens me how much money you need to put up front just to be seen, just to have a presence in the industry, and even then doesn't guarantee you're getting seen.
Yeah, I mean, so I had
hundreds of pounds for headshots, hundreds of pounds for showreel footage, your annual subscriptions for your equity or your Cairn Union, whatever membership that you go for, and then you've got Spotlight as well. Like, it's all of that up front before you've even been offered a job, and then when you are offered a job, it's, well, we can pay expenses maybe. And it's like, why is this so hard?
Okay, you know what? Pay my expenses. Pay my Spotlight.
Do you know what I mean?
That's
That
an
would be
expense.
amazing.
That's an expense.
Aye. Pay my Spotlight for a year. that's close to actually paying you, so they wouldn't. That's not fine.
No, I mean, it's...
Listen, let me just clarify as well, though, there is a place for doing unpaid work.
Yeah.
That's not me totally bagging on it.
There's collaboration and stuff.
Do you know what I mean? Absolutely. Everybody's got to start somewhere. But I think there's a fine line. There comes a point where the crew are getting paid, but you're not paying your actors. Come on. There's got to be a bit of leeway. So anyway, that's my tuppence worth on that.
No, because I mean, there's a number of different angles we can go with this. Because on the one hand, you've had this unique experience of different sort of mindsets and ways of thinking about acting. I'm curious of how do you make them all mash together? Do you ever go?
No, it's like it's becoming this really clear thing in my head now, particularly because of another practitioner I've started geeking out over for the past 7 months. His name's John Swanbeck. I was kind of talking to him about before we started recording. So he's an American guy, and he's all about the cinematic technique. And when we trained, we were told character does not exist, do not play character. You're always playing yourself under
a version of you.
Circumstances.
I agree with that still, even if you...
I still agree with it, this is the thing. A lot of people come to Swanbeck's work, and because he is so aggressive towards the actor's process, they think, oh, he says I've not to do any of that, and that's like... really, it goes against everything that we've done, right? We've been training in it. When I first did his class, I was like, everything I knew was a lie.
I mean, I love that people get religious about that technique.
Honestly, it gave me like an existential crisis for a bit, but only through again, because I'm not going to walk away just because it doesn't feel right. I'm going to give it a bit and see what can be gleaned from this. And slowly I started to realise that actually it's a crucial part of it, but it's only half of it. So I've got like this ridiculous analogy.
Go on.
I know. I keep thinking of acting performance now as like an arrow. And as an acting coach, when I get a beginner to the process, they come from one side of the arrow, which is all about external. So, you know, they'll do things and they're like, and they do a lot of show, you know, it's overly in the body, and it's like, oh, there's not much emotional truth happening here. So my job as a coach usually is to drag people away from the movement side of things into the emotional truth. And that's what I really hammered for a year when I was coaching with Inspire. It was like, how do we get to emotional truth? And that's what I was looking at. But that is only half of it. So if you only train in that half, your arrow's still going to be unbalanced. And if the target is an Oscar-worthy performance, I don't know, right? You're not even coming close. Because actually, on camera specifically, you have to look like the character. And the outside, what you prepare physically, has to be as rooted as the lines.
Yeah.
So there has to be, you know, like if you're playing...
I mean, the classics, what's his face? Don't do this to me right now.
Oh, no brain. Come on, play with it. Come on. Give me the name.
Fucking American actor, one of the great ones.
Dude. Pacino, De Niro, Brando, yeah. There we go.
No, like I know he was doing Streetcar Named Desire. I think he was playing Stanley from Streetcar Named Desire, and he kind of developed sort of...
I mean, this is why even animal studies has its place.
Yeah.
Because it creates something in the body. I was wetting myself watching something the other day. It was Holes. Hannah Greer, once again. We're name dropping you everywhere, Hannah. Introduced me. It's a Disney film.
Right.
And it's so random. And there's an actor in that whose name has totally left me. And we're watching it and I started buckling and I was like, I guarantee he's used animal studies because he's moving like the lizards in the film. Like he did this mad thing with these eyes. And he's moving around. But he sustains it the whole movie. And this is the thing, like... when you've so religiously trained and, you know, character doesn't exist, it's just words on a page and it's so easy to be like, yeah, no, because I'm doing impactful performances, especially in theatre. And this is the thing, we do these classes, we get up and we do scenes, we find that emotional truth. It feels great because we really feel something, and if you feel it, the audience feels it 100%. But when you're doing that in a room with no camera and you're not viewing it through the frame, it feels great every time because it looks like real life. But the second you do real life on a camera, doesn't work. Doesn't work. Because acting for camera is not real life. It is an art form in itself. It's It's literally art. It's an elevated thing. Like, the amount of stillness that happens is unbelievable. Like, the number one note that I hear from John Swanbeck all the time is do less. He says it in a variety of different ways, and he has loads of really cool exercises to help you do less, but it's do less. One of the best ones he ever told me, and it really helped free me up, was imagine it's first thing on a Sunday morning and you really don't want to be awake yet and you don't want to be having this conversation. It was brilliant because I was just like, no. But it just made me do so much less, and on camera it looked way more real and believable than what I would do if it was just me and you in a room full of people and everybody would go wow, but you put the camera on it and it just doesn't read. And it was bugging me for years, Silas, because I was doing auditions for really great projects, looking at it and going, I know I've done a good job, I know I felt it, and I can see that feeling, like I'm feeling it watching it back, but something about it, and I couldn't put my finger on what it was that wasn't working. Now I know it didn't look like a film. It didn't look like a TV show, because how it looks, this other half of the arrow, that physicality, is part of the freaking job. And so many of us forget about it because we focus on this internal truth and the psychology.
Yeah.
It's nuts. The number one thing that I will get in one-to-one sessions with clients when they come to me for self-tapes for auditions is, they'll talk about the scene. I'll go, what is it that you're hoping to achieve? And then they'll tell me about the scene and the psychology, and I'm like, okay. And then we'll do it, and I'll go, cool, you've nailed that. There's something missing. Give me the email. What was the information? And there's always one thing that every actor forgets, and it's the character description at the top. Vain, sleek it, cruel. Or like you've got these bits in your gigs all the time about, what was it, a kind prostitute?
It's a friendly Eastern European work criminal.
That's the one, right? It's the guys from your joke. Those are the bits that actors ignore. They literally skip past it and go to the psychology behind the scene. Your job on camera is not to play the scene. That blew my mind. Your job's not to make the scene work. All of the amazing stuff we did for a year on journey, turning points, beats, none of that's your business. The script takes care of it.
I think it still works. It's just you have to bring in...
It's not your job.
Okay.
If you play the character and you commit to that character, it takes care of itself. I know. I've had deep suspicion, but the proof's in the pudding.
Okay.
I'm totally obsessed with it.
And
this is basically what you'll get at Bala now, because it's just like but it's that thing of just try it and play.
Yeah,
and
that's
this
fair.
Is the thing, I don't pretend to have the answers in our sessions. If you're putting your coach on a pedestal, you're in a dangerous place.
I agree.
Because your coach is just an opinion, and it's art. You're making art, and art is fucking subjective. I don't know if I can swear, but I just did.
Yeah, you can.
Amazing. Silas's podcast, of course I can swear. But it's subjective, and at the end of the day, it's one person's opinion. And if you're taking away someone's opinion and going, oh my god, that holds all the weight, and if you're going there trying to impress, that's also really bad practice for the profession, because then that means you're approaching your auditions like, what do you want to see? Love me, please hire me. And that should never ever be the vibe. You should go into every audition making what you want to make.
I agree with that. It's because
do what it is you want to do.
Imagine if think everyone else is coming up with this version of what do they want, or not everyone else, but plenty of people. So you all look the same because you all look kind of needy.
Right.
And one of the worst things you can be is needy.
Well, right, this is really going to blow your mind now with this Swanbeck stuff. I'm obsessed. I know everybody who's been to Bala will be like, shut her up. I'm off in one, guys.
This is where you get to speak.
But what he says is that when an actor is acting really well, meaning they're doing all of the actor's process stuff and they're not looking at that physicality of the character and being really strict, when they do that, they look desperate on camera, because they look like an actor trying to make a scene work. And the more I'm experimenting this with my guys on a Monday or a Thursday night, we're seeing it, and they're watching it back and going, oh my god, it looks like I'm really trying. When you don't watch it on the frame, it looks brilliant, because it's honest and it's truthful, but on that fucking frame it looks desperate. I'm like, honestly, it does zoom in a lot. Yeah, because so much of it is about the eyes.
Not just it, but it sees every thought you have.
Oh, completely. You blank a line, you're busted.
Yeah, and if your thought is like,
Aye. That's it.
you know, just that frustration of like, why am I not feeling the thing?
Yeah. It doesn't matter. You just gotta go.
You just gotta go with it.
You know, I sent a clip recently, and it's Dustin Hoffman talking about how you don't have to feel it all the time. He's like, you're all obsessed with feeling it. The script says I shout, and then he shouts and he demonstrates, and that's all you do. I didn't feel that. It was convincing. And I'm like, yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I mean,
Half the time.
are you saying, Kat, that there is truth in action?
Oh my god, no. I'm just gonna let that sit.
That's a little callback to a book we all had to read.
Yeah, I'm not promoting it. I refuse. I now see why this is here. It's a support animal.
Yes. No, I guess the other thing I wanted to ask again is how. It's not even how do you make it work, but like realistically, what happens behind the scenes to have the career that you're having, to keep building? Because
absolute chaos.
Okay, I want to hear about the chaos. Because that is the reality of life.
It takes an unhealthy lifestyle, I think, if I'm being brutally honest.
Yeah.
I remember doing like this kind of women's retreat with Matthew Hussey in 2019. It was brilliant.
Yeah, it
was great.
I love it when guys explain
life to women. I know.
No, it's not even that. Like, hang on.
Problematic.
Wait. I'm sorry. I'm one of those people that maybe I'm just simple, but I believe it doesn't matter who says it's what they're saying that you should look at.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry if a guy.
I'm a major advocate because he was brilliant. Like, and his attention to detail during that retreat. Like, as a kind of theatre maker, filmmaker, creative type, I'm sitting back and I can see what he's doing. Do you know what I mean? Like, his speeches are learned. He knows what it is. He's not winging it when he's up there. I mean, there might be elements of improv, right? Because there's audience interaction, but he's got a very strict structure of what he's doing. He knows what he wants to achieve for everybody there, and it's very positive. It's a healthy thing he's doing. But, you know, he would get to the inspirational bit and the music would kick in. Do you know what I mean? Or it would be the really funny bit and the lights would go, and it
is a show.
It's a show, but it's all curated in order to make you feel something, because it's obviously rooted in like NLP, and once you're at that highest state emotionally, he gets you like do physical things that then lock in the memory. I know every time I squeeze my right fist, I literally get that feeling again. Do you know what I mean? It's like, it's really cleverly curated.
So it's involving the senses.
We're on a tangent.
Yeah.
Our entire conversation is tangents, but that's fine. But anyway, one of the key things that came out of that was you could make like a grid of your life, and say it was, I don't know, like 12 boxes, and each box is different elements of your life. So family, relationships, work. What other things are there?
Kids.
Health,
I mean, the
fitness.
kids come under family. Health, fitness,
Aye, all of those, all the different hobbies, interests. You know,
do we have those?
That's exactly right, and it's very telling that I'm struggling to find the names of those other boxes, because often what happens with people is they have a very imbalanced grid. So a lot of the people who find Matthew Hussey find him because of the dating stuff. I didn't know he was the dating guy until after I booked the retreat. I'm glad, because if I'd known him as the dating guy, I would have had that very cynical, I'm not doing that. So I'm glad, because it turned out it was worth it. It was really great, and actually apparently his dating stuff's great. The 250 women I met, all hail him. Anyway, a lot of the women that came to their box that was taking up maybe 5 or 6 boxes in terms of space on that grid was like love life. So if they'd been divorced or they'd been single for a long time, like that was their obsessive thing, where they were chronically on dating apps and just trying to meet people, or worse, they were doing nothing.
Did you just like summarise my life? Chronically on dating apps.
I summarised my own. I had to go cold turkey. I was so depressed by the whole process. But yeah, like some people it's relationship, that's probably the most common one, but then the other really common one, which is mine, which comes back to the question you asked me, is it's work. Yeah. Almost my entire grid is work. bar that little section I've carved for my kids. I broke my heart at the beginning of this year, because I was doing like, right, new year, let's get all our goals ready, you know, Chaos Collective, Bala, me, what are we going to do? And I wrote down all the things that I was wanting to achieve and trying to work out, right, what's the things that are actionable this year, and and my 13-year-old came in and he was like, what are you doing? And I told him, and he went, don't see us on that list anywhere. And I was like, oh, massively called out. And I was like, yeah, me and my kids, like, time to actually spend time with my kids should be on this list somewhere.
Yeah, no,
but I often forget to prioritise it because it's all about the hustle.
Yeah, no, that is true. I think it's people forget, because there's always so much about work and building your career and stuff, you forget that there's other things you want to be building in your life as well.
Yeah.
So now, like, my approach on that is like, anytime you do something, you're building something always.
Yeah.
It helps if you're aware of what you're trying to build.
Yeah.
So if you're trying to build a family relationship, or
Yeah.
like, no, because sometimes you go, oh, I'm just gonna zone out today and eat a massive pizza and play video games. You're building something.
Yeah, that's been my past 2 months.
No, but like, you're building something. It helps if you're aware of what you're building with that, you know.
I get, that's a fascinating one as well, like the amount of people who are actively striving towards goals they think they should do.
Yeah.
You know, the amount of, even, you know, if it's industry related, actors I meet who think that they're supposed to be doing a certain thing. And it's like, but have you questioned whether that's what you actually want? Who put that there? Is it that, you know...
I mean, sometimes we want things because we think the validation that we so desire will be at the end of it. It's never at the end of it. Spoilers, it is not at the end of it.
It's never at the end of it. Just ask any Oscar winner.
It was an interesting thing to realize that, looking at all these successful people, of like, oh, once they got to that level, there's still another day. They still need to do shit.
Yeah.
It doesn't end.
Kerry says it best in his speech when he's like, I can't remember how many, he's like, I'm 3-time winner or something or whatever it is, and he's like, and all I can think is, maybe now I'll be the 4-time winner. Do you know?
Yeah, Simari, it's not just regular Jim Carrey. I'm 2-time Golden Globe winner Jim Carrey, and I'm gonna dream not just any dream, but like 2-time Golden.
Yeah. It just sums it up. It's nothing at the end.
It's all bullshit.
It is.
I mean, it's not bullshit, but it's all made up.
Yeah, like Hollywood is a business. It's a factory. It's a machine. Like the way they created Hollywood stars. I mean, you just have to look at the history of female Hollywood stars. Like,
that was a revolving
Judy
door.
Garland that was like force-fed pills in order to just do the job. Everything was creating this market so that everybody looks and goes, ah. And it's one of the reasons it took me so long to even admit I wanted to be an actor, because I genuinely believed that was somewhere up there, out there, not for us.
Yeah, and I know what you mean by that.
They're just people, but it's a machine. Everything is, like, you know, you're seeing these people on talk shows and you think, oh, that's who they are. No, like, at some point, Silas, I'm going to be on, like, the Graham Norton show, because he's going to live forever.
Yeah, I'm just going to double check, because I always have this thing of, like, it is working.
But yeah, one day I'm going to be on the Graham Norton show, and we're going to look back. We're going to be in this is going to be like a clip that's going to be shown on Graham Norton, right? And literally it's going to be used to illustrate the point, because on the Graham Norton show I'm going to look fantastic, because I'll have a team of people doing my hair and my makeup, and they'll probably CGI me to look a bit more whatever it is, and then there'll be this where it's just 2 ring lights and my precious self. But do you know what I mean? Like, it's all marketed in such a way that we think, because we're exposed to it so much, that it's real, and it's all illusion.
No,
it's all illusion.
I have to be honest. Part of Hollywood is the massive part of it. It's a bit like the royal family. It's pomp and circumstance. The dress up is the thing.
Yeah, it's pageantry.
But the weird thing is, it's selling something that we know it doesn't work with, because people still want it. We just keep selling it.
Yeah.
And I believe in capitalism, but that's the one thing about capitalism that pisses me off.
Circuses. It keeps us occupied so we don't deal with the real problems.
It's like, give the people what they want, but sometimes the people want bullshit.
This is the thing about giving people what they want. People don't know what they want. And people can't know what they want if they don't know what all the options are that's out there. So if they've been exposed to a certain thing, then they'll ask for that thing all the time. Weirdly enough, this is something I learned at Cumbernauld Theatre. When I worked at Cumbernauld Theatre, they had a programme that was full of tribute bands. And I remember the artistic director there just being like, we have to give the people what they want because this is what the board wants and this is what makes money. But very sneakily, he would then put in the most random Eastern European little piece of work with like artists from Poland or whatever. And it'd be like, wow, that was amazing. And nobody would go. But the one or two people that would go suddenly would be coming to see more stuff like that. Because you can't know what you want when you don't know what the full spectrum of options are.
Yeah, I mean, there's a really good quote, I think, by Henry Ford. It might not be him, but it's like, if I asked people what they want, he basically came up with, one of the first cars. And it was, if I gave people what they want, I would give them faster horses instead of making a car.
Right.
It's like,
that's literally it. Yeah. You can't.
And again, it's not like, there's also the risk of thinking I know better what the people want. Nah. You have to be careful.
Oh no, like you can never know that. But if you have access to options that other people have never experienced, and you put them in front of them,
see what happens.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
It's not about going, I know best, I have this. We're back on the ballot track. That's literally it. I'm just like, there's some other options here. Come and play.
Yeah.
See what you can do.
Right, back to, we were talking the business. I mean, yeah, it was...
This is literally, I'm just stroking it for support now.
No, but the thing I'm fascinated by is what we're talking about, what it takes to have the career, to build a career, to have the family. Oh yeah, and that reminded me of there's a really good quote by the uber capitalist Jeff Bezos.
Capitalist, yeah.
Well, top of the food chain when it comes to he's beaten capitalism.
Mr. Piranha himself.
Yes, and he talked about the big kahuna. He talked about, he likes to call it not work-life balance, he likes to call it work-life harmony.
Oh, that's gorgeous.
And I know people
actually really like that.
I like that as well. It's because the idea is that you don't need 50-50 of everything. You might need 10% of this. And
this is the thing, nothing is ever 50-50. Right, I heard this in relation to relationships, but I think you can apply it everywhere. I saw it in a clip on Instagram at some point when I was doing scrolling, but it's that idea that people talk about relationships being 50-50, work-life balance 50-50. Nothing's ever 50-50.
Not really.
Because some days you come at things and you're like, my capacity today is 10%. I can give 10% to this because of everything else that's going on.
Yeah.
In a good, healthy relationship, the other person goes, then I got the 90. I've got the 90. And in work life, yeah, if work you're like, I can only give 10% today because someone at home has died or da-da-da-da-da, then a healthy work environment's going to go, we've got the 90. Take however much time you need. Only, just read through this today. Don't give it full emotion, whatever it is. Do you know what I mean? Like, yeah, we got the 90. And likewise at home, like, my kids I'm so lucky with the kids I've got. Like, they're so incredibly understanding and supportive. They are amazing. Like, they fight for me. Like, I've heard them telling grandparents and things like, yeah, but she's good. And we're like, what? Like, I've heard them say, yeah, but she's really good at it. And I'm like, oh my God, bless you guys. Do you know what I mean? And one of them actually said once as well, and it makes her happy. And I was like, I'm winning. Do you know what I mean? And like, a lot of the time, yeah, there will be times where, okay, I've left them off my to-do list. Sorry boys, I love you. But like, they were off for half term there, and I was like, everything else is stopping. Work had to carry the 90% because I spent all my time with the kids. We did science centre, we went to the time capsule, we went bowling, we went to the arcades, we had a great time. I was like, it's all about us kids, and that's all we did. But then likewise, when it came to the Fringe last year, I had to sit them down and I was like, this is what I'm planning. I've started a new theatre company, Chaos Collective. We've not plugged that yet.
So is it called Chaos Collective?
Chaos
You're
Collective.
Probably coming to the Fringe this year?
Well, possibly. We have a poll out. We might be bringing last year's show back. So if everybody in the cast is up for it, we're going to go for it.
Yeah. Or if you need to do another workshop audition, Well, I think you might have people on the reserve list there.
We definitely do. This is why I put a call out to say who wants first dibs at coming back. So if there's enough of them that want to do it and we only have to audition a couple of roles, then that'll be there. But there's plenty more in the works, Silas. We've got more in the works. We took notes on everybody at that audition for future projects. This is how it works.
Nice.
I'm on a mad tangent again. Yeah, so last year I basically had to sit them down and be like, listen, this is what I'm doing. I've started a new company. We've created 2 shows and we want to take both of them to the Fringe. This is going to mean I'm going to be gone for 3.5 weeks of your life, because we did the full run with no breaks, 2 shows a day. I was in one of the shows at 5:30 every day, and I ended up having to stage manage the first show at 10 a.m. in the morning. Every day.
I've seen the second one. I'm sorry, the other one was too early for me.
No, don't worry about it. It was fine. It was a hoot. You'll love it. There's going to be more opportunities, Silas, don't you worry. But I had to sit them down and just be like, Mum is going to be gone. If you don't want me to do it, then we will talk about it and I will find another way to do it in a different capacity. But the boys are great and they're literally like, no, that's fine. We'll make it work. It's 3 weeks. And I'm like, okay. So for that duration of the Fringe, my kids went, we'll hold the 90, because I only had 10% capacity to give them. And they were like, we will hold the 90 for 3.5 weeks. And they let me go give 150 to work for 3.5 weeks of my life. And it was amazing. But that's work-life balance, work-life harmony sounds really nice, because it's, when we talk about balance, it's never about you must have that and I must have that, and we must always have that amount, and if you're not holding your full 50 then you are failing. It's like,
I know, like, I'm aware of some people, they get really anal about, I did my part, I did my 50% and I'm not doing more. You have to do your 50%.
You didn't empty the dishwasher, it's over.
Yeah, but it's like, well, you know what, sometimes
really
you have
trivializing.
to no, it's true though, like, you have to play strengths. You have to figure out, okay, you do this, I'll do the other thing.
Yeah,
you know, things like that.
That's it. Give and take, you know.
Yeah, it's just, it's a weird way. It was just an eye-opener of, like, you can't always expect 50% fairness.
No, because it's not equality we're looking for, it's equity. It's like that little diagram you see doing the rounds on social media, because that's where I get all my information from. And it's like 3 people try to look over a fence, and they're all different heights. And equality is everybody gets 1 box, but the shortest guy still can't see over the fence. Equity is the tallest guy who can clearly see over the fence doesn't get a box because he doesn't need one. The middle guy gets 1 box and the short guy gets 2 boxes, and then everybody can see.
I mean, that's
equity.
And then the challenge in life is figuring out when you use what, because sometimes some cunts need 1 box and need to shut the fuck up about it. It can be a bit, but it's figuring out when that applies and when 50-50 applies as well.
What I mean? And this is the thing, both Chaos Collective and Break a Leg Academy are all about trying to increase that access for those with financial barriers to actually get in and get paid work, get solid credits, get training in a way that's affordable. And all of that is like, I'm constantly trying, I've got people that come to my sessions who get really angry at me for not taking money off them.
Aww.
Because I'm just like, yeah, but you've just told me that it was a choice between rent and this month. So pay your rent and come to classes for a month. Like, I'm not very great at running a business.
I mean,
I'm really not. I'll figure it out. We'll get there eventually, and there'll be systems in place, and I'm hoping to get a kindness fund off the ground and all this kind of stuff. But like, as far as possible, I've got to try and gauge who needs the box and who doesn't.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And if I'm in a position to help you and give you that, but I'll do it. And you can complain about it all you want, but I'm going to do it. Because it's more important for me that the people that come through what I'm doing actually go somewhere else with it. Do you know what I mean?
In a way, you're also planting seeds.
That's all it is. I'm growing a forest, man.
All right.
Crazy. I've got a ridiculous dream. I don't know if I've told you it.
Now go on, tell me about
My ridiculous dream.
Is it tentacles?
No. How did you know? Sorry, you're not sorry. Don't even lie. Don't even lie.
Go on.
But no, my ridiculous dream is that I will be the most thanked person at the Oscars, and I have this amazing image in my head of Quentin Tarantino turning around to like Brad Pitt and going, "Who the fuck is Kat Harrison?" Do you know what I mean? Like, it's a ridiculous dream, but I kind of love that idea, because for me it's the big thing, and this is, God, we're tying everything together right now, because this goes back to the Matthew Hussey retreat. The big thing for me is about impact. It's not about winning the Oscars, although that would be delicious, or the BAFTAs, you know, not showing favour. There are other awards out there.
We're not boycotting
there's also the HB Film Festival. Those awards are very notorious.
Notorious. Shout out HB Film Festival.
I know, I'm just doing my thing. Anyway, the whole point is, it's not about the accolades, it's not about that validation you get. It has to be about the impact you have. And I'm really clear on the impact that I want to have. I want to support as many voices as possible thrive in the creative industries when it's so hard to do so. And I love the fact that the single mammy with 2 Waynes with a spreadsheet to make it all work, and the guilt trips of not having them on my go, like, I'm making it work. My kids are well fed, they are dressed, they are doing hobbies, they're having fun, like, they are not deprived in any way except of their mother's time for 3 weeks during the Edinburgh Fringe, but it's doable. Do you know what I mean? And that's just something I want to always encourage. So many people look at their dreams and go, yeah, that's not for me. If you dream it, you can have it.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Where there's a will, there's a way. It's all that kind of stuff.
And there's also, like, I have to agree with, like, you can try to be the great parent, but if you're fucking miserable, how good of a parent can you be?
Do you know what I mean?
Like, realistically. Yeah. Yes, you need to put food on the table.
But they were miserable, and that definitely impacted us. Like, it impacted us massively.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, if your house isn't a happy place to come home to, where the hell do you get sanctuary from the world? Do you know what I mean? If your home is not a happy place,
yeah, no, I mean, I was thinking about this as well a while ago, because I had to, you know, do my mental health stuff, and it was like, there's all this talk about, you know, you have responsibilities, you know, safety and all that, but at some point you kind of go, right, you know, health and, but at some point happiness and health coincide.
Yeah.
Because if you're unhappy,
your health declines.
Yeah, like if you're depressed, health goes down. If you're suicidal, health goes down. 1000%. All that stuff.
I gained so much weight after the pandemic. Not even during. I was actually pretty healthy during the pandemic. I was going for my daily walks every day. Do you know what I mean?
Sometimes I went twice.
Yeah, me too. But it was farmland. There was no one around.
Like, it's not like I
giving COVID to a cow. It was fine.
Oh my God.
This is it. The evidence is there. We're going to get arrested now.
From all the COVID cows that you infected.
I know. When I was perfectly healthy. Anyway.
Right.
Sorry, that's another tangent. I don't even know why we were talking about it.
We're talking about health and happiness.
So it was like after the kind of second lockdown, my mental health kind of went in the gutter. And I wasn't happy, and I kind of lost track. I had loads of systems in place that were really benefiting my mental health, and I'm currently undiagnosed ADHD. I am fairly certain. My therapist has gone, if you're not ADHD, I'm going to retire, kind of thing. So we're trying to get that sorted. But after the pandemic, I moved home as well, and suddenly all my systems that I wasn't even aware were systems were in boxes. And because I didn't have access to them, things fell apart in a massive way. My timekeeping became even more horrendous than it often is. My ability to focus on things or get things done in the gutter. And suddenly I became addicted to, like, Pepsi or Coca-Cola, no favour here. I will do adverts for all the brands. But you know, I was addicted to the caffeinated sugar hit. And again, it's through social media that I started to learn that that's self-medicating. Because I don't drink tea or coffee. And I never realised it's because tea and coffee makes me sleepy. And I go for a nap if I have a coffee.
And sometimes it's not even the substance itself, it's that feeling of... It is a weird form of validation that for that split second, you know, the stress of... You have that voice inside, are you doing enough, are you being enough,
yeah.
Shuts up, and you confuse that piece with the drink or the food or the whatever.
For me, it's absolutely the dopamine release. It's like, dopamine. That's literally what that is.
And that's what they're selling. And
That's what they're selling. I hear it in an advert and I go, dopamine.
I mean, it was one, I saw an ad recently that was kind of, oh yeah, it was a big billboard for, I don't know what food company, what, fast food company, where it just said, alright, go on then. Or something like, go on then. Like that was the phrase.
And that sums it up, right?
And I was like,
that's how to get you. But
That's
for a year at least, when I was in that low mental health place, everything was go on then. And so I've gained like 2 stone. I'm like, oh, I've got to shift this. It's so funny, I've been booked for a film and she sent out the costume stuff and she's like, do you have like suit trousers and a blazer? And I'm like, none of them fit me. Am I going to need to go buy these things now?
Yeah, see, there's an idea that I've fallen in love recently, which is health and success and all that, they're symptoms.
Yeah.
They're not, and I like using the word symptoms because they're not the goal. And what I mean by that, the lifestyle is the goal. And these are just signs of like, are you trying, are you living that lifestyle that you...
Yeah, it's just an indication of what's actually going on.
Yeah. But it's not, again, and the lifestyle is not 100% guaranteed. Sometimes it just means, shit hit the fan or whatever.
Right. And this is the thing as well, like I'm not fat shaming myself when I say I've gained 2 stone. It's literally just a comment on health. Because I used to be able to run. Do you know what I mean? I can't run anywhere. I can't even walk up a flight of stairs without heaving, like just be like, okay, I'm going to be sick. And it's horrible. And that's a reflection on health. Like, do you know what I mean? I want to get back to peak health, and I feel it coming. Like I'm starting to get instincts for things again, and it's a symptom of feeling happier. Like the symptom of feeling happier is I actually got up and went, I kind of want to go for a walk this morning. I hadn't had an impulse like that in ages. That's a really healthy impulse to have, and it's going to have other knock-on effects on health. Happiness is health. Absolutely is.
There's a strong connection between the two, and figuring that out.
Yeah. Well, we've got a ways to go.
Yeah. Yes, we do. I haven't figured this out. It's a work in progress.
Join us each week when we have the answers. Imagine it would be horrific. The answers we would give would be.
I feel like we should have a call-in show. Of like, hi Kat.
Could you imagine?
Yeah.
I'm just thinking of the idiots we know and what they would call in with.
I mean, the dating advice, oh my god.
My dating advice is pristine. I can't apply any of it to myself. Chronically single. But yeah, I've made some beautiful relationships possible. The divorces were also spectacular.
I love that.
I know.
I love that. You gotta make it. Every story has a beginning, middle, and end.
Right.
And it's a good story if you're like fucking at the edge of your seat throughout.
Yeah. I feel like that's been my friends with my personal life, actually. But hey ho.
Alright, good. We should probably talk about your other baby, Chaos Collective.
Yeah.
Because
she's a fun baby.
Yeah, Chaos Collective. I mean, you're all about the creative stuff, which I admire, of you finding different ways to fucking hold on and hang in there. It work.
Just do the thing. And it's interesting. I love, that's a really sweet thing to say. But I've absolutely got to address the fact that is totally not my perception of it at all. Like, genuinely, I have never once felt like, oh, I need to find a way to hang on, this is too much, how am I going to make this work? Like, I don't know where it came from, Silas, but maybe it was when I was hit by the taxi. But I literally just had this feeling, this is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life.
Well, okay, when I was...
And I just know it's going to be this thing, and it doesn't matter how the money's coming in and going on. It's coming, like I'm doing the voiceover. And it's funny, like when one thing dries up, another thing fills in. So Bala over Christmas got really quiet. People couldn't afford the sessions. And I'm like, of course, why are you gonna, no, go cripple yourself with Christmas instead.
I guess you need to buy a present.
Go
fine.
Do the capitalist thing, it's fine.
Fine, I guess you do care about grandma.
Oh,
whatever.
Don't worry about my kids' Christmas presents. Terrible, innit? So that kind of dried up a little bit over Christmas. And this is the thing, like, Balla's not swamped either. Like, there's space, come and play. Do you know what I mean? It's not swamped. It's a healthy little group of between 7 and 11 people most night. It's small, it's doing its thing. There's space. But over Christmas, if you've only got 7 or 11 people and they're pulling away and you're down to 2 or 3, that's not paying the bills, it's barely paying the venue. So luckily, voiceover came in. And I was like, oh, the money's coming in this way. And that's fine. And it always just comes. Like, I'm really lucky with it. The coaching covers it. I did youth theatre for years. I ran a party business.
That's the thing I was interested about, because you do
I ran a business called Melodrama for years, where I did face painting and kids party games. I would go out to weddings and do story parties. So while all the speeches were happening, I would take all the kids and distract them, and I would basically get them to devise a story together using drama games, and then I would get them to draw elements of the story or characters, and then basically after the party I would go away and type up the story they'd written, and then create these little handcrafted storybooks with a message for the bride and groom from the kids. This story's dedicated to Mr. and Mrs., or Mr. and Mr., Mrs. and Mrs., whoever it was. And we would have these little books that were full of these stories and the pictures that the kids made. It was beautiful. It was a great idea. It grew arms and legs. But I remember doing a kids party in a community centre one day and going to the bathroom and being in the stall and just being like, what am I doing with my life? It was a really rough party. The kids were horrendous. And I was like, this isn't what I want to do. But it was successful and it was making money, and I thought, well, so I gave that business away. And I gave it to one of my friends who was like, I can't do the games and stuff, I will kill a child. And I was like, so don't do that, just do the face painting. And she's ran that so successfully. She's incredible, and she's now in art school. She's amazing. She's more amazing than she realises. But yeah, I just gave the whole business away, and people were like, why didn't you charge for that? And I was like, she's not even using half of that. Like, I just gave her kit.
I mean, okay, so because I've been educating myself on business, there's a part of me is like, you should have fucking...
Yeah, no, I'm terrible for it, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter to me if I'm making loads of money off something. What matters to me is the impact. That gave her a whole new avenue and career.
Yeah, but...
and she's thriving with it, and that makes me happy.
But if you have funds, it helps your impact.
But I have there's other places, so it's not like...
I'm not criticizing.
Not like I'm starving.
Good.
Do you know what I mean? But no, I do hear you. You're one in a long line of people going, monetize!
Yes.
Like, I know.
Yes, you have to be greedy. Like,
this is the thing, it's coming. It's coming.
Little Patreon.
Yeah. Well, we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. I don't know how it's coming. Listen, this is the thing about me as well, because I'm really woo-woo. I'm all about law of attraction, baby.
Like, we had this chat actually ages ago. Of you could potentially set up a theatre company that was based on subscription based, right?
We had this conversation.
Yeah, vaguely.
Remind me, cause
no, the idea being because I was involved in maybe setting up a theatre company, and that didn't happen. Then a stand up started doing really well, and I love stand up, and no diss to the acting industry, but I feel like the stand up industry is a bit more approachable right now.
Okay.
For a boy of my size and my background. I don't know, maybe I'm just full of it, but it just things are happening.
If you feel the pull, follow the pull. Trust your gut.
Yeah. But the idea was you potentially set up an acting company, a repertoire type of situation, but having back in a Patreon where people can sort of donate, and it's ran on a monthly donation system, and then you give them extra benefits for that.
Oh, so the people paying into the Patreon would be members of the company?
They wouldn't be members of the company, they would be audience, but they would get behind the scenes information, they would get something extra.
I get you.
Or maybe you get discounts to the shows, but making a sort of it's a crowdfunded theatre company basically.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty much how we did the Fringe.
Yeah.
Everything was just, I mean, it was $2,000 I put up front of my own money. Everybody says, don't put your own money in, and I'm like, oh. So I was very conscious that the money I put in had to be what I could afford to lose. I'd be like, if I lose $2,000 this year, is it going to break us? I was like, it will hurt, but it won't break us. We'll put it up. So everybody who came onto that production came on under the the basis that the first thing we had to make was the £2,000, and that had to go back in my pocket, so that I wasn't losing anything as part of this process. And then beyond that, we had a profit split that was based on contribution. We cleaned house for a Fringe show. The lowest anyone was paid on our team was £100, and that was because like they were there for a couple of days of, you know, just helping ushering or something. And then the majority of our cast were paid something like £350, and then it was about £400 for the last tier. So we took something like £4,000, which was like £4,000 profit that got split between everybody. I got a standing ovation in a Zoom meeting for this, because everybody was like, how did you make money at the Fringe? And I'll tell you right now, it's two things. One, do the free festival, because people are a lot more generous with their donations than you would think.
Yeah, they pay what you can.
Two, do more than one show. It sounds insane, but doing 2 shows at the Fringe will make you more money than doing one, because you can cut your costs in half, because everything's doubled up. Our flyers were double-sided. We had thorns on one side, down the hatch on the other.
Fascinating.
Your costs are cut in half. And then you've got the cast for one show, flyer in for the other. Do you know what I mean? So it's crazy. It was great. And again, of the things that people go, don't be crazy, you do all this stuff for free. Part of the, I mean, yes, it's like, oh my God, monetize Cat, what, you're throwing your money away. But I'm a big believer in give value first.
Yeah,
and then
that's
it rolls
fair.
in. And honestly, one of the best things we did is we went out to, oh God, what's it called? Was it Mix It Up Theatre? I can't remember what they're called, I'm so sorry. There's a youth theatre group in Edinburgh, and they approached us
That
and
rings
said,
a bell.
would you be willing to come and do your show for our youth theatre for free? And we were like, absolutely. And we went along and we did our show, and it was the best thing we did, because it was the best way to open. We were on at 10 a.m. at the Three Sisters, and it was super quiet most mornings, because the venue only opens at 10.
Right,
so most people weren't coming into the building until 15:15. We would go in and the place would be dead, bar our 6-7 people in the audience, 12 if it was a good day, you know. And then we would finish the show, come out, and the place would be hotching with kids. We'd be like,
where were you?
Do you know what I mean? So we did our first show to an audience of about 6, and then we packed everything up and we hiked it up the hill to go to this youth theatre, where there was about 35 kids from about the age of maybe like 8 to 14 or something, I can't remember, and they lapped it up, like the attention and energy that the cat, it set them up for the whole Fringe. It was like, it didn't matter if they only had one person in the audience for the rest of that run, because they'd had that experience with the 30 odd kids who just went nuts for it. It was the best thing ever. And then they all wrote reviews. It was the most adorable thing and the most honest thing. It was terrifying, but it was great. 4 or 5-star reviews from the youth theatre participants, bar one guy who gave us like 3 stars. He was like, could have been better. I was like, yes. I was like, I appreciate that, sir. I appreciate that. Oh, so good.
Oh, you gotta love kids, man.
I know, they're brutally honest. It was the best training ground, I tell you.
Oh,
but yeah,
okay.
I don't know how we got onto that. We're doing our thing again.
Now we're just talking about you and the Fringe Chaos Collective.
Yeah, I mean,
making it work.
So yeah.
And I wanted to ask, Free Fringe, just which one? Because there's a couple of them.
Yeah, oh God, it's the one with the chicken logo, the weird chicken man. It's a very weird logo. The Free Festival.
Okay, yeah, I'm just wondering, because I have a lot of, on the stand-up side, there's a lot of big venues, but they charge big bucks.
Yeah,
but I've seen a lot of professionals saying, do one of the free ones.
Yeah.
Simply because
it's an amazing opportunity, honestly.
I know.
There's loads of comedians. This is the thing about the venues, because the Free Festival is mostly comedy. We did Thorns, which was like a really dark, twisted retelling of Sleeping Beauty.
Yeah, I was there.
And the amount of people that came into that show expecting a comedy, because they were just in the venue and went, oh, we'll just go see this thing that's on. And then within 10 minutes they'd be like,
oh no,
it's not funny, unless you're Silas. And find it really funny that children are being eaten.
No, hang on, where did I add something? I started
I said they tasted like pork.
I was like, no!
It broke you. Do you know what was really funny? It was maybe a night or two after you'd been in and laughed on that line, a night or two after, I got to a roundabout there. What was it he said? It was so... I can't remember exactly what he says. I'm probably paraphrasing, but it was just like out of nowhere, this voice at the back of the room went, "Oh, you bitch!" And it was so vehement, and it threw me for a minute. And I just like gave it to the character and went through. But do you know that way? I was like, he hated me. He really hated me. I did something right. It was so weird because like he couldn't stop himself from just like. And I was like, yeah.
I mean, that's where I was like, there's no way this is happening when you know, it's like the kids tasted like pork and you're like, no.
That's the thing about fairy tale. It's so funny. I was gifted, funnily enough, by the Down the Hatch crew. I think it was all the guys that are now Bala. At the time it was still Inspire that I was coaching. And a lot of them kind of came with because they no longer had a weekly class when Inspire stopped. But they gifted me this beautiful collection of Brothers Grimm fairy tales. Gorgeous hardcover, kind of it's just great to touch. You know, it's beautiful. And my youngest has gotten really into it now. He saw it and was like, "What's this? It looks like a spell book." And I was like, "It's full of fairy tales." So we've been reading it at night. And
they are
at
grim.
times we finish and he goes, hold up, everybody died?" And I'm like, yes, and everybody died. And it's actually the last line in one of the stories. It's like, and everybody died. And I'm like, amazing.
So are these like the original Grimm?
As far as I'm aware, yeah.
Nice. Yeah, because like after East, like I was going to Eastern European, but European fairy tales used to be fucking vicious,
I mean,
man.
they're wild. They're completely wild. And there's so many really interesting interpretations of them in terms of psychology, and I'm obsessed.
I mean, I have a bit, I'm working on comedy about mental health, but if you like look at the Middle Ages, like no wonder we're all fucked up. Have you seen the fucking trauma in these books? It's like, if you go into the forest, you're gonna be boiled alive by a witch. That's just like, that's baseline.
And that's mostly just because we're afraid of the power that old women have.
I mean,
women who have aged past 40, there's a reason we don't really let them in media. It's because they don't give a fuck. Society can't control women over 40, and that's fucking terrifying. Terrifying. So yeah, they're all witches and crones, and they'll eat you alive.
I mean,
they'll tell you the truth.
But here's the thing though, hang on. So this is Hungarian fairy tales.
Yeah.
But in Hungarian fairy tales, the classic motif would be the young hero is going on a journey, he goes into this forest, and there's this old crone lady with like trying to carry or dropping some branches, you know, for like firewood. And the young hero would always say, would greet the like something like "my good mother," things like that. It would be a polite way of greeting, and it would always be, "Well, lucky for you that you greeted me that way, because otherwise I would." So it was teaching respect to like you know, you don't know what somebody of age has been through.
There's always nice little moral nuggets in things, which I think is nice. I'm saying always, sometimes there really isn't.
Sometimes it's just fucked up.
Yeah.
But
good though.
But it's that is a fascinating thing of the stories we tell each other about ourselves.
I just think the evolution of them is really fascinating. Like, I kind of did my dissertation on taking fairy tales back for adults, which was a very 20-something opinion at that time, you know, but it was really a reflection on how fairy tales evolved. Fairy tales were camp stories. It was, we sit around the fire at night and we don't have any other entertainment, so we're going to spin this yarn.
Yeah, you know some of them are horror ones, some of them
are... you know, they're all over the place. And so that's kind of how it started, and so a lot of them were really dark because the kids were asleep. It was adults around the campfire. But then, of course, we had this weird... let's Disneyfy, and you know, there's who's the French guy, is it Charles Perrault, I think that's his name, who kind of like started to make them softer and gentler for kids and took away some of the blood and gore, and you know, it's like they're awakened by a kiss. Sleeping Beauty is not awakened by a kiss, do you know what I mean? But it's a kiss on the lips by her one true love. Alright, okay, cool. But even then, if you look at how these stories were tamed down for children, they're tamed down for children with a very specific societal agenda, which is females as property. Because at the time that these have been written, they're, You know,
That's how they were
they're
treated, yeah.
sold essentially by their fathers to their husbands.
And in the Bible, there's like, if you want to go way back,
Yeah, that's
how much
all
you'd
it
have to
is.
pay
Do you know what I
for.
mean? So it's all this thing, and there was, I can't remember who it was, but there was this fascinating article that spoke about how the concept of monogamy and true love and romance and all, soulmates and all this was created during a political shift in the way marriage was looked at, because it was another way of making sure that women would stay married to their one man and not go off and do this thing that we all started to do in the 80s, which was get divorced.
I mean,
you know,
I get that, but also I think it was something along the lines of people started asking, like, you know, what are we living for? What are we getting married for as well? So there's several things that happen at the same time.
tax reasons.
Yeah, no, because like, you know, the classic tale of all the nobility getting married for political purposes.
Yeah.
You know, that was the thing. And then people would get married to sort of financially improve the situation,
I can't
or
even lie.
keep the financial situation the
The
same.
reason I got married was so that my ex-husband now would have equal rights over his kids if anything went Pete Tong between us. Not that I was catastrophizing and having some psychic awareness that we weren't going to make it, but at the time in Scottish law, if you were not married and you had kids, the father had no rights to his kids. Like the woman had all of the rights legally,
And all of
men
the
would have to fight
responsibilities.
for it. Yeah, let's not forget that. But yeah, it was just that thing of I don't think I ever would have weaponised my kids, but I never wanted the option to be able to. So I was like, no, you're their dad, you have a right to access your kids, so
Well, that's
let's
kinda
just get
cool.
married. And that's literally so romantic. I wonder why that relationship didn't work. Hey ho. Live and learn.
Yeah, not fair enough. But now it's, again, we would start off with fairy tales, but there's a lot of truth in those tales about the human psyche at the time and even today.
Fascinating. I love, there's a story, I think it's Bluebeard. There's a
he kills a
fascinating-
bunch of his wives, doesn't he?
Yeah, but it's a really fascinating look into female psyche and how it's, the whole thing is about how naive women are and how they'll be like, oh, you're shiny, you're a rebel, and there's a darkness to you, and I'm drawn to that.
It's like, yeah, there is.
Like,
The guy's
yeah.
a serial killer.
But he'll kill you.
I mean,
You know,
if you look
and
at the
it's about
history of
that
serial
submission
killers,
as well, it's really interesting.
if you look at the history of serial killers, there's something to that.
They're all charming. God, don't we just love a barrel of red flags? Oh. Delicious. I don't even know what green flag looks like. Must be the guy I think is boring, do you know what I mean?
You would get triggered, be like, no.
Yeah.
That would be a beige flag.
Yeah, no, I tell a lie. I had a green flag guy once and I let him slip away.
Oh.
I know. He's doing well now. He's got gorgeous wife, gorgeous kids. Like, he's doing really, really well.
Aw.
So it was obviously for a reason. But I get it was just because I had so many red flag relationships. I didn't know what to do with a green flag one. I was like...
Yeah, I know
what to do with
people,
it.
man.
It was terrifying and I ran.
I know people that have gone through several relationships, and it's like at this point it's kind of expected of like, okay, when's this one ending? And there was a couple of times where we were like, we're in the same friendship group, and we're like, this one seems a good one. You know, let's see what happens. Let's be optimistic.
Yeah.
And then the feedback would be, I was just getting bored. I just couldn't. I didn't know what to do with it. I was just, and it wasn't even that. They said I started freaking out.
Yeah, mine was the freak out.
I was going.
Because
I don't know.
I could see he really cared about it. Do you know what he did? It was my dissertation, and I was in that work balance. The grid was filled with my dissertation, and he drove through to my mum's, and was like, "We're getting ice cream," and I was like, "I've got to study. I've got to do this thing." And he was like, "No, you can take a break. We're gonna get in the car." And he drove me out. It was, where did he take me? It was like Bridge of, I don't know, it was like out by Stirling, and there's a little ice cream parlour that's
Right.
also a chippy. It's so random. And he took me there for ice cream, and we sat by a wee burn just having ice cream for an hour. It was just the best thing. And then he dropped me back off and was like, "Go do your essay." And I was like, I don't know what to do with this. But I could see he really genuinely cared about me, and I wasn't used to that, and I freaked out. I freaked out, and I used the fact that he had only been single for a short while as my excuse. I was like, "Oh, you're not over her, you're projecting all of this onto me, it's not really me you feel this
Yeah.
for, it's her, da da da," and I used that as my out. So sad. Poor little cat, she didn't know any better.
Yeah, you have to
But if I
forgive yourself for
hadn't
what.
done that, I wouldn't have my 2 boys. I wouldn't have my kids now. So it all happens for a reason.
Yeah, it worked out in the end.
It did.
And they all died.
And they all died. And do you know what though, Silas? We all will.
Spoilers.
Spoilers. We will all die.
This will be on YouTube after I'm gone.
It's going to be in a dump one day, or someone else will be sitting on it. They'll buy it out of a wee thrift shop, and nobody will remember us or care about this.
But everything we did will live on through eternity.
Well,
It will echo.
the impact will.
Yeah, that's my favorite thing. I know it might be cliche, but I love it, and it's true. It's from Gladiator when he goes, "What you're gonna do today will echo throughout eternity," and it's just the idea of like the metaphorical image of an echo, because that's what it is.
Right. And I kind of love that as well, because it's that thing about bells ringing and how that echo does contain, and it's just beyond human hearing, but like that echo is there forever, and I love that idea. Everything's vibration, man.
It's all woo,
Everything
bro.
we do is echoing forever. So don't be an asshole. Yeah.
But sometimes you were an asshole and you got better, and the echo's still there, so you have to accept it.
Yeah, that's alright. So long as you learn and grow, man.
It's all just a journey, man.
And you still will be, like, oh my god, I'm such an asshole in the mornings.
Oh yeah,
Or when I'm hangry.
If I don't sleep enough, I'm a proper cunt.
Right?
I mean, I like straight up go, guys, it's not you. I have not slept enough.
Do you know when I'm the worst at it? Is in that moment when my sleep is disturbed. Disturb my sleep, and so my oldest took his life in his hands the other day because I had a migraine. I was like, guys, I need to go for a nap. Jack, can you wake me up at 5 because my class starts at 6? And he was like, yeah, no bother. Do you know how that delightful child of mine woke me up? It was like something out of a surreal movie. He literally went boom, kicked the door open, whoop, slammed the lights on, the big light, and I was just like, wah! But it was like instant fury. The kid did it thinking it was hysterical. Instant regret washed over his face, like I watched his soul leave his body as he realised he had done fucked up. I was just like, why?
And then he went, it's 5 o'clock, and you're like, oh,
I know I asked you to wake me up, but there's a way to do it. And he was like, yeah. Just like moonwalking back out the room, like, I'm so sorry. Yeah. It's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know there was a time where anger was the emotion I really struggled to access?
Yeah, I understand that. I remember seeing you struggling to access it.
Yeah. It's funny because then I had kids and I think it definitely got easier. It's interesting that I was still struggling at ACS. Maybe it's because I was so ashamed.
It was, I could see like trying to like get vicious and just...
Oh, do you know what helped me with that? I'm sitting here going, when did I struggle? But
there was an
memory
exercise.
unlocked.
I remember there was a line. I remember I had to deliver it and be cunty about it, and you could just
I hated it because so much of my mental health was centered around being a chronic people pleaser.
Yeah, no.
So the idea of saying anything that could possibly upset anyone was just like, nah, I couldn't get comfortable with it. But do you know what helped and why I'm totally in love with it now? Stage combat.
Yeah, no, fair.
Stage combat was I recommend any actor to go and do stage combat, whether you want to do it or not, because it's going to help you untap something. It's amazing the way it just makes you go,
yeah,
because you can, because it's safe.
1 and 2, I think there's a confusion we make. I know I did. I don't know if you did, but like growing up, somehow you decide that hurting, it's like, do no harm, and you start thinking of like, oh, if even just by accident I upset someone, that is morally wrong, and it's not.
Yeah.
And sometimes some cunts need told.
Yeah. Yeah, it's something I struggled with, like, a lot as a kid. Like, if I did anything or said anything that was even just, like, against what they thought or believed or wanted, the people that were around me, then it was, like, there was always, like, what felt like catastrophic results. So I learned just to go with the status quo. I found the same things funny that they found funny. I only kind of said the things that they wanted to say. When I started reading tarot, I would be woken up like stupid o'clock to read for parents' drunk pals and stuff. Do you know what I mean? I'd be like, yeah, this is what I do. Like, all of it was all just compliance. I would never ever go, yeah, but I'm tired, can I just stay in my bed? I'd be like, no, that's what you want, this will make you happy. Like, it was that thing of, if I'm not making other people happy, then my value is... That was the chronic belief that I had. I was like, then I am worthless. I am not worth anything unless I am making everyone around me happy. And I am aware there's probably an element of that still at play in my Good Samaritan vibe of come and do classes for free. Let's be honest, there's probably an element there. I'm aware of it, it's fine.
I didn't say anything. Did I say something?
My inner voice was loud. But do you know what I mean? It's just being aware of how these things impact, and I think I'm slowly but surely getting better at being able to say, no, this isn't acceptable. There was, as you know, a year recently where I was dealing with a lot of unacceptable stuffs, and nodding and smiling and saying it's okay, I'll carry it, because I cared about all of the people. I cared about these people deeply, and I still do. So I was tolerating a lot of stuff that most people would have gone, fuck off. So I was like, I know I need to stop tolerating this, but I'm going to do it in my own sweet time. And so I dealt with one area, good, that took a year. Another area, good, that took a year. 3 years on, I'm finally out, and I've learned that very important lesson, and I'm hitting 40 this year, Silas. Level 40. That XP is gonna just I'm very excited for it, because it really does feel like from now on we just don't tolerate. Life is too short. We can do it with kindness, and if people throw toys out the pram because you're not tolerating, I know you know who I mean.
yeah
Then that's on them.
It's on them, absolutely. Like, you're not responsible for other people's journey and other people's...
I'm not responsible for other people's happiness.
Other people's life philosophy by which they live. They make that up themselves. You can't actually... You don't have any input.
Yeah. I can try, but it's a wasted effort. So that's why selfishness is the key. I make myself happy. If I'm happy and healthy and taking over, then those in my immediate vicinity will be too.
Or,
as much as they can be when they're with me. And then they can go and be miserable somewhere else.
I feel like that's a very good life note to end it on.
I know. This has been great. Can we just do this like without a camera sometime?
Aye. Where have you been?
I know,
just been busy.
But I think like the last time we really spoke like this was probably, I think I was in Brighton and we had like a 2-3 hour phone call.
Maybe.
Yeah, it was like
at
there
the
was
Fringe.
Stuff happening. No, it was before Fringe.
Oh,
there
before
was like stuff happening. Choices were made.
There
were changes afoot.
There was drama.
That's always drama, man. Drama llama. But no, it's nice. It's nice just shooting the shit.
Hi.
Also,
it's good to see you again.
I do feel like I do need a support animal whenever we do it. Don't mind me.
I mean, I haven't even asked any hard-hitting questions.
It's all hard-hitting.
It's my soul.
It's my soul. Yeah, it's a mess. What is it they say? Hurt people gravitate towards therapy and acting.
Yeah, there's something about that. There's something about
there.
that. Thank you so much.
I know. I feel like we need to end on a cheerful note. That was really depressing. Quick, tell a joke.
And they all died at the end of it.